You were surprised with the snow too, right?
It was an unexpected surprise, yes. I went to turned in for the night with a forecasted wintry mix and woke up with
With this.
3/4 of an inch of snow on the ground.
Where did it go wrong?
I don't know.
But here we are.
This whole winter has been quite an experience.
This whole winter has gone wrong.
Yes.
It's been a debacle.
Yes.
We're coming out of it, though. The groundhog said so.
Okay. Well, the groundhog should have been turned into something else, but
I have told everybody next year we're having our own groundhog and
we?
letting him make our own prediction here because this 6 more weeks of winter was.
Yeah, and we're supposed to get something on Monday too. So.
Well, you came full of good news.
Yeah, absolutely. You said you wanted to learn something. It's going to snow again on Monday, probably.
That was great.
We are still a long way off, though. Forecast can change. Maybe Randy can.
Randy can work his magic.
Yes.
It's going to happen.
See what happens.
That's right. What's happening at the fire department?
Nothing. Staying busy. So we're luckily, knock on wood, runs are somewhat down. EMS calls are up for service, and I think it's that time of year. There's a lot of sickness going around. The weather has made it difficult for slip, strips, and falls. Obviously a big one. So seeing that and taking those proper precautions and things like that. Otherwise just really working in towards the year, and obviously it's crazy that we're almost 3 months in here, and it was just New Year's seems like the other day. So
it's been a very quick year so far.
It has been. We're working on our business relationships and doing all that type of stuff and getting ready to start planning for community outreach and those as the weather breaks and good. We'll be starting those. So, just business as usual, but continuing to move that needle forward and continue to try to make things better as we go.
We're all looking forward to green grass and warm evenings. Yes, they're coming. They're on their way.
Yeah, and then I'll gripe about the humidity once it rolls in.
I won't.
Well, that's good.
I'm going to relish in it.
You can help me with that then.
Yes, we will cope through it. It will be fine.
Yes. Just remember these cold days.
That's right. Don't complain.
No, it's been it's been a while. It's been good. Our the serious calls have been down, which is good, and it's just more of the routine mundane stuff, which isn't good for those suffering it, but it does show that we're proper precautions. People are operating safely, utilizing correct heating implements or and things like that. So we're glad to see those type of things occur, so we don't have any more serious emergencies than what we do.
I feel like this winter we've become well acclimated to winter. Like we're wintering now.
Absolutely. We had our first taste of severe weather. We're getting good at this winter thing, staying off the roadways unless we absolutely need to, not going out, and things like that. And so that's a plus. That not only helps fire, EMS, police department, it just helps everybody. The less people that are on the roads, the less chance of accidents we have, and the less chance of something changing your day in a negative way, where you can just stay inside, cozy up, and stay warm, hopefully, and not have to get out. Luckily, these, with the exception of the big one, these have usually been pretty short-lived. Within a day or two, we're back to normal. So those that are shuttered in are not shuttered in for long periods of time, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, and then able to get right back out. So I think that's good.
Let's talk about that severe weather we had, because that came out of, it was expected. It came out of nowhere.
Correct.
But for this time of year, and then
so this is slightly a little early, and that's the thing about when you throw warm temperatures and sunny days into a normally cold season. Obviously the cold air and the warm air mix, and that's what really creates a lot of our problems. There was, it was all on social media. There was some pictures floating around of what could possibly be a tornado on the northwest side of town there, 3, and then kind of creeped its way across 74 into the near the Round Barn area. That was looked at. There was to the National Weather Service, there was inconclusive evidence that a tornado actually occurred.
Okay.
The first picture that I was shown looked more like a cold air funnel, which is just the cold air and the hot air kind of mixing. But the second and third picture that I was shown as it developed, definitely to my untrained eye, Definitely looks more tornadic-ish, especially the short video that we had of that. I would just we do want to encourage those who do take video, obviously, or have video in their vehicle. Some of the stills were from that, which is great. Submit those to the National Weather Service. They're the ones that make that determination of whether it is or not, and the more evidence that we can show to them that maybe looks like it, then we can. Luckily, there was very minor damage, no injuries, anything like that. But again, it does highlight the dangers. There was some hail and some very high winds, which are kind of precursors or kind of can happen within that. But it does, make sure you have your weather radios. This storm was activated. The sirens went off as planned, but the phone messages through the National Weather Service did not necessarily go out to everybody. I was pretty much straight in the path of a tornado, and I did not get notified while other people did on my phone. And so, while that's alarming, those notifications, you also need to have other ways to do it. So obviously, if the sirens are not meant to be heard in your home. We go through this all the time. We get complaints that I can't hear the sirens in my home. They're not meant to be heard in your home. They are an outdoor warning system that was originally designed for soccer games, baseball games, parks, those type of things where individuals are outside. Before really the cell phone was what it was, and those would go off to alert you there's a problem. Well, now with the advent of cell phone and that technology growing even greater, you're always tethered to something. But we still have these redundant systems. And so, it's not on your provider. It's nothing you did. It's something with the Weather Service. We have emergency management has let them know, like, hey, not everybody, got the WEA, the weather emergency alert. Please look into that. What, was the polygon the same as the alert system? And so going through things like that, trying to make sure that alert does come out. But it is, to your point, it is rather kind of enlightening and a stark refresher that severe weather season will be shortly upon us, pretty much when winter's over. And, under the cloak of darkness, the pictures that I saw most were through lightning strikes that you could see the what looked like a cone tornado shape. Under the cloak of darkness, you're not going to be able to see that.
Sure.
And when I've experienced the tornado in Evansville back in 2005 that went through the trailer park and took several lives. Again, it was dark. It was absolutely dark. The trailer park power poles weren't really everywhere. It was a dark, secluded kind of place. And those that weren't warned, those that weren't watching, were unsuspecting victims. And so, the weather alert radios that you can buy, yes, they can be annoying at times, but if they're programmed right, they'll only go off when they need to be. And it's a system that doesn't necessarily cry wolf. We look at siren fatigue, message fatigue. We look at all that and kind of weigh all that of how many messages are sent out, what do they say, because people just get, like anything else, they just punch the button, silence, and move on, which isn't a good thing when it comes to this, especially if you're in the path of a storm. So, as we prepare for that, and it's, we're still trying to keep winter at bay and work on it, but then, this severe weather thing is real. Tornado Alley is no longer Tornado Alley. If it's shifting, and it's including us more so than what it has previously in our general area. And so, that is one of our greatest threats, if not our greatest threat here, that and just the winds, and very destructive, very, very, very damaging. And so definitely under the cloak of darkness, when you're sleeping, something that's going to wake you like a smoke alarm, that there is a problem. Waking up and finding an alert on your phone is too late. Maybe taking that action and knowing that. So again, if you have storm plans, if you have that cellar, you have that basement, you have that place to go to, making sure you can get to that, because if our severe weather is as active as our winter weather, we're in for a long
For a
haul.
treat.
Unfortunately, yeah. So those predictions will start to come out and things like that. But to your point, we're getting off with a bang for sure.
We are. Yeah, I was actually in Brown County that evening, so not far from the Bloomington tornado. And so I did get alerts. And then also the Sheriff's Department has their new app out. And I actually that day had downloaded it. And those messages did come through. So.
Great. And that's wonderful. Yeah, I believe you guys got postponed and severe weather was kind of headed your way. And
they started the show, they stopped the show and took a 15-minute break for the tornado, and then they restarted it.
Hey, that's all that matters.
That's right.
The show must go on, as they say.
That's exactly right.
So it was something that had creeped up, and so we're looking at that, and obviously just keeping an eye on that and what's going on.
That's right. We'll be ready. It's coming next month.
It is.
When you were in last, you were talking about going through the hiring process. Has that advanced any further?
That has not. So the hiring process is kind of just at a standstill right now. As we rank our candidates, obviously, and then we look to the future and we see where we're going, where we're at, and trying to fill those positions as they come. So we're still working towards that, notifying candidates of what their positions are, and the wheels of government turn very, very slow. In time,
yes. It will all happen.
Absolutely.
New fire truck still slated for.
It is still slated for January of 27. So
we're getting closer.
We are getting closer from 2023. I'll be never so glad to have that behind us and sitting in there. And then our new rescue we ordered will be in around June or July of 23 or 27. Sorry. So yeah, 2 new frontline apparatus. Great addition to the fleet, and replace some of the aging equipment on our fleet and increasing our response capabilities, giving us more room on our rescue squad, and being able to move forward with that. So as we face these new tax laws and everything that comes out of our General Assembly and things like that, we've positioned ourselves to be in a good place going into that, and not really needing and making sure that some of those bigger capital purchases are taken care of prior to any sweeping changes or sweeping reform.
So 27 will be a big year.
It will be a big year.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is exciting. It is, for sure.
We have to see it happen.
That's right.
I think we cannot get too excited yet.
Correct. No. The pessimist in me is saying, wait a minute.
We're going to be hopeful.
Throw the flag. We are going to be hopeful. We are hopefully making progress. Once we start seeing pictures, that will help. That's the most aggravating part is that the truck doesn't take that many years to build. It's just waiting in line to be called to build. Yeah, and the builds only takes around 6 months. So that's the short period. It's the waiting is the long period. So patience is not a strong suit of mine. So this has been a lesson in patience.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
As far as trainings and those kind of things, anything new happening?
So no, we're obviously, we have an indoor training center that we utilize during this type of weather, and so we've been able to really capitalize on that. And then, obviously we're always, looking at extrication training. We do that, in-house on our back pad, but again, we're not fair weather firefighters, but a lot of it is weather dependent. If it's super icy or super something, we're like, let's not do that. I don't want to get anybody hurt prematurely. But our indoor training facility really allows us to do a lot, and then as the weather breaks, we'll start to do more outdoor training and work on that with hazardous materials and some other technical rescue classes that maybe require groundwork and being in holes and things like that. So trying to make the best of the weather and what we can do with it. Obviously, we've been doing some ice rescue. We had the pond rescue from in early January, and that was picked up by Indianapolis media, which then spurred more Indianapolis media wanting to come down and watch ice rescue training and things like that. So we were able to help with that and get some positive press and a news story out of that for the guys to do that, and they got to go video-wise along with them and do an ice rescue in one of the ponds. So we utilize the pond out back of the fire station that we built there at the back of the cul-de-sac that is designed for us and helps us, do those trainings and things like that should we need that, and we have needed that once this year.
So
and
clearly it paid off.
And yes, and once is enough. We don't want to do those, especially now as we get this freeze thaw. All those bodies of water need to be stayed off of. You could, during the middle of it when we had 2 weeks of, not above freezing, sure, it was good. We had good ice. We cut good ice out from where we trained at, but there was also bad ice on top of that. And now most everything has thawed. But even if it would go back to a freeze, because we don't really know what the weather's going to do per se, it's definitely best just to stay off that. No ice is safe ice, and just because we train on it every year does not mean we want to use it every year.
That's right. We're just prepared.
Absolutely, yeah. Those are very high impact incidents that can have disastrous and tragic consequences.
I think a great point too, though, right now where this weather is so in between.
Yes.
Stay off of ice.
Yes. And really, and absolutely. And even just be careful. There were some parts that were slushy on the roadways, and there were some parts that the road was just perfect on the roadways. And so, don't rest on your laurels, so to speak, of, we don't want to see crashes because we're driving too fast for conditions. Know our conditions, and that's the biggest thing that we can preach, because it's not only life-changing and impactful to you, it's impactful to all the responders and everybody that has to come out there. Anytime we're operating on a roadway, it's extremely dangerous.
As we look ahead to 26, what's the future? What do you see?
I don't know, 26 or 27.
26. We still have a lot of year left.
We still have a lot of year left. Slow, continued growth. Again, I can't understate the actions of the General Assembly and the state legislature in property tax cuts, how they affect
There's a lot of direct
public
impact.
Safety. Yes, and as a taxpayer, it's great if we can see what a meaningful cut. But as somebody who's also on the other side of that and has to go to work every day as a public worker, it's very handicapped. The cuts are potentially so deep that growth maybe is not possible. And I think that's a critical, challenging thought that partly intrigues me because I like critical thinking, but then partially also is not like, where do you just have to put up the we surrender flag? And so while our objectives are always to grow the department and make it better than it was the day before, I think we have to really look at, we might have to be okay with being stagnant. And not stagnant in the fact of we just rest on our laurels. We still continue to train. We still continue to, but it's going to be, what can we do internally to stay the same but yet better ourselves? And whether that's internal training and really things that, the governors have said, well, you need to do more with less. Well, I think anymore that's impossible. With the price of things continuing to go up, with with inflation, with paying for the tariffs and things like that, you can't continue to do more with less. Perfect example of that, we bought the ladder truck in 2025 for $1.5 million, $1.6 million. When they pushed it all the way to 27, and it was near the end of 27, I went and started pricing that exact truck again. To see can we get it quicker if we just cancel the order and reorder from somebody else. And that truck was $2.2 to $2.3 million.
So almost $1 million more.
So almost $1 million more in that really short time period, which was obviously not fiscally feasible, was not a smart move. We were just better off staying where we were at. But we explored that option. And so to be able to do that, to be able to grow, to be able to add more of what we do to help everybody, where does that come from? And I think that's the big the issue that we're seeing with local government and our agencies and our lobbying bodies versus the state legislature. Of there's no happy medium there, and so what does it look like? I really don't know. I want to stay optimistic. I want to stay hopeful, but I think we also have to be okay with being the best at what we're doing at this time and maintaining that long term versus continuing to grow. And it'll be a balance, and it'll be, it's obviously, the priority becomes people, taking care of our people, making sure that they, are happy in their job or as happy as they can be in their job from external factors and things like that, and hopefully provide them and continue to provide them with what they need for that, so we don't see a turnover during this time period. Because as we've looked and learned and listened, that this time period is going to go on for several years, and I think it's really going to cause a fundamental kind of shift in public services and public goods that are free to the eye but cost tax dollars. All of us in public service to really think outside the box, as well as really have to think about every decision that we make. The council, the mayor, Board of Works, public safety is very well supported in this community, and I cannot be thankful enough for that. But even I know that they can't solve this problem. This problem is above all of us, and we as the locals, all of us have to come together to figure it out and support each other as we're going through this, as we don't know, and the worst.
And unfortunately, you really don't, like, the fallout. It's not known at this point.
Correct.
I mean, there is no number to look at.
There is no number. There are very, very complicated formulas that you change one number and the whole thing changes. Correct. It's not something that, and we're not really sure if they know. And then every year, if something's added or subtracted to this, then that changes the whole thing again. So even if you had the plan and you forecasted it out, every year when the state lawmakers are in session, it can change. And this is a short session, so we'll be done by March.
They're wrapping it up Friday.
Yeah,
they're wrapping it up early.
Yeah, so we'll have most of the year to kind of figure it out, but by the time we get it quote unquote figured out,
it will change.
It'll change again because it'll be back time for session. That's a long session, so we will not have the processing time like we would this year. So it's an interesting time period.
We're gonna roll with the punches.
We're as I said, the trucks are purchased. They have not been paid for, but the funding is secure. We wouldn't have bought them without the funding secured, and we're just kind of moving along to see what happens, and internally, okay, what can we do? Where can we get our training? And knowing that this could be the last year of budgets of where they're at. And so making sure that everything is taken advantage of, and is there things that we can, long-term things that we can purchase now that we can't afford maybe 2-3 years from now, and go ahead and get them replaced so we're ready to move forward with that. So it's kind of a big puzzle game with no picture on the puzzle. You're just trying to fit the pieces together.
We will see what happens.
We will. We'll be all right. We're going to be fine.
Yes, it will be fine. It's just an adjustment.
We're going to make it. Is it going to be tough? Yeah, absolutely. But part of that is there's not a lot we can do. We've voiced our displeasure. We've worked with some state lawmakers and at least trying to help understand this. We've worked with our professional organizations and services that represent us at the State House and our lobbying agencies to help that. And it's what's done is done and what's said is set. And so we can only change the things that we can affect. We can't affect this. So now we have to figure out how we can deal with internal change and change that doesn't change that level of service that the residents and visitors of Decatur County and Greensburg expect. How we keep that up, how we maintain that, and how we be transparent of what's going on if something would change.
We shall see.
We shall.
That's the answer. We shall see.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's
All
9
right.
o'clock. Thanks for being in with
You
us.
bet.
We look forward to next month.
Yes.
And we will see what happens.
All right.
News up next.